My wife never truly saw me. Not the real me. She only noticed a version she had created. Neat, predictable, safe. I didn't realize how little respect she had for that version until her company's Christmas party 6 months ago. My name is Jack. I'm 48 years old, a financial controller at a manufacturing firm. My work isn't glamorous, but it's steady and has allowed me to build a secure, comfortable life over the last 20 years. My wife, Rebecca, is 43. She's in pharmaceutical sales. A fast-paced, high-energy career filled with bonuses, lavish dinners, and endless conferences. We've been married for 11 years, no children. That was an issue early on. I wanted them. He didn't. I gave in, convincing myself that love and companionship would be enough. That night, the holiday party was held at one of those trendy downtown venues. Industrial design, cocktail menus filled with names you couldn't pronounce, and prices to match. I'd have preferred a quiet bar with a neat scotch, but I went because it mattered to her. I wore my best suit and smiled through the evening, making polite conversation with her colleagues and chatting with executives. Everything was going fine until around 10 o'clock when I went to find Rebecca, thinking she might need food or water. She'd already had too many of those overpriced cocktails. The restaurant had a mezzanine. As I reached the top of the stairs, I heard her voice. Loud, playful laughter. The kind she used to win people over. She was surrounded by coworkers, drink in hand, saying, "God, no. Jack would never do something spontaneous. He's honestly the most boring man alive." Froze. Hidden behind a tall plant, I listened. Her tone was mocking. Her impersonation of me uncomfortably accurate. She made fun of my routines. My early morning runs, the protein shake I blended daily, the same blue shirts I wore to work, even my Sunday night ritual of updating our retirement spreadsheets while watching 60 Minutes. Her colleagues were roaring with laughter. Then came the part that cut me the deepest. She leaned in, pretending to share a secret, and whispered about our intimacy. Tuesdays and Saturdays, same positions, same order. I even call it the Jack routine with my girlfriends. More laughter followed. When someone asked about vacations, she rolled her eyes. Bali. Never going to happen. Jack thinks international trips are impractical. We just go to the same beach house in South Carolina every year. Same week, same restaurants, same boring everything. A younger guy from marketing smirked. Why stay with him then? Rebecca shrugged. Security, I guess. Jack's dull, but he's steady and well off. We'll retire in 5 years. I just have to make it until then. They eventually moved on, but I'd heard enough. I walked back down and ordered a double scotch. I didn't confront her that night or the next. I kept every routine exactly as she'd described, while quietly deciding my next move. Because if there's one thing I know, it's how to plan. 3 weeks later, Rebecca announced she'd earned President's Club again. This time the reward trip was to Monaco. Spouses weren't invited. You'd hate it anyway, she said, patting my cheek. It's all parties and schmoozing. Not your thing. Probably right, I replied with a smile. When is it? February 12th through the 19th. Congratulations. You deserve it. While she was sailing yachts and sipping champagne, I got to work. I'd already met with an attorney. Henley, one of the best. I explained everything right down to the timeline. Papers were ready. At the same time, I'd been quietly touring homes with Lisa, an old college friend turned realtor. I found a beautiful craftsman on 3 acres outside the city. Peaceful. Private. I closed on it the same day Rebecca flew to Monaco. Rebecca always knew everything about our shared accounts. Income, expenses, savings. What she didn't know, because she never asked, was about the inheritance I received 5 years ago from my uncle. 7 figures, wisely invested, steadily growing. I had kept it separate, thinking one day I might surprise her with the early retirement she always talked about. Now it had a new purpose. While she posted sunsets and wine tastings online, I moved my most meaningful belongings into the new house. Family heirlooms, photo albums, my grandfather's watches. When she came back, she hardly asked about my week. Life slipped back into routine. Then last month she arrived home glowing. Her company was transferring her to Boston. A big promotion, double the pay. I've known for a while, she admitted. I didn't want to jinx it. But we'll have to move quickly. She showed me listings in Concord. Charming colonials, dripping with New England appeal. One in particular, $1.7 million. It's above budget, but if we put all our savings toward the down payment, with both our salaries it's doable, she said. She'd already lined up a showing. I know you hate change, but we can't drag this out. You can find another controller job there or just take some time off. We'll be fine on my income. I asked for a night to think. She rolled her eyes. Jack, you always overthink. Just take the leap. I'll sleep on it, I said with a smile. The next evening, I suggested opening a special bottle of wine we'd been saving. She looked surprised but didn't question it. We sat at the dining table I had refinished early in our marriage. To Boston, she toasted, raising her glass. I raised mine. To leaps of faith. Exactly, she smiled. That's what I've been telling you. That's what I wanted to talk about, I said, setting an envelope on the table. She frowned. What's this? My leap, I answered. Divorce papers already filed. She blinked in shock. This isn't funny. It's not a joke, I replied calmly, sipping my wine. I heard everything you said at your Christmas party. Every word. Her face crumpled. She opened her mouth but nothing came out. I bought a new house, I continued. I'll be moving there. You can keep this one if you want, but you'll need to refinance on your own. Silence. I may be boring, I said evenly. But I'm not stupid. And I'm not your safety net anymore. The wine was excellent. Worth the wait, just like this moment. I was drunk, Rebecca whispered, laughing nervously. It was dumb office talk. I shook my head. No, Rebecca. That was the most honest you've been in years. Her shock turned to anger. So what? This is revenge because I hurt your feelings. You're throwing away 11 years over gossip. No, I said, calm as ever. I'm freeing us both from a marriage that clearly doesn't make you happy. You were right about one thing. Life's too short to settle. Rebecca's defiance wavered. She tore open the envelope, eyes darting over the pages. Her face paled at the financial details. Where did this money come from? These accounts. And our savings. The joint investments. My uncle's inheritance. Jack gave a calm nod. I never touched it, just invested quietly. The joint savings are still there. Your share will help with your new start in Boston. Her voice dropped. But the Concord house. I can't afford that on my own. I'm sure you'll find something better, he replied evenly. Especially with that promotion. He placed a set of keys beside the papers. Rebecca blinked. What are these? A parting gift. Yes, he said. The Mercedes you've been eyeing. It's paid in full and in your name. Consider it thanks for enduring your boring husband. Her mask finally broke. Tears spilled as their marriage fractured in real time. Where will you live? She whispered. Jack showed her photos on his phone. A craftsman-style home on 3 acres, with a chef's kitchen and a wraparound porch overlooking the mountains. You bought this without me, she asked. Closed on it while you were in Monaco, he answered. Guess I'm not as predictable as you thought. Jack stood, straightening his shirt. I'll move in tonight. My attorney will handle the rest. If anything urgent comes up, email me. He was nearly out the door when her voice cracked. Jack, wait. Sorry. We can fix this, therapy, counseling, something. I didn't mean what I said. He turned once more. That's the thing, Rebecca, you did. And that's okay. We just want different things. You think I'm boring. Think you're unkind. Neither of us is wrong. We're just wrong together. He left the house, climbed into his modest SUV, and drove off, not toward anger, but toward a future that finally felt like his own. Some would call it extreme, but after over a decade with someone who secretly mocked his choices, Jack decided he deserved better. So did she. Rebecca was bound for Boston to chase ambition. Jack was rediscovering himself. 2 weeks later, reality settled. Rebecca had moved out, staying with her sister until the transfer. She even tried to return the Mercedes, saying it felt wrong. Jack told her to keep it. Despite everything, he held no hatred. She cycled through denial, anger, bargaining, promising counseling, even threatening to quit her job. But eventually came resignation. Quiet, tearful, final. One telling moment came as her sister helped pack the kitchen. "Did you really say those things about him?" she asked. Rebecca's soft reply. "Not exactly like that, but yes." At least now, honesty had surfaced. The divorce advanced peacefully. They split assets fairly. No alimony, just a clean break. The house sold quickly, well over asking, giving Rebecca a cushion for her next chapter. Jack didn't gloat. 11 years still mattered, even if the end hurt. He began rebuilding. A telescope on the deck led him to join an astronomy club. He signed up for cooking lessons, started hiking with a local group. Small steps but meaningful. Old friends reminded him that his boring life hadn't always been that way. He had once trained for triathlons, played blues on weekends, even planned a trek through Patagonia. Over time, he'd dulled himself to fit into Rebecca's world. Surprisingly, some of her colleagues reached out, apologizing for staying silent that night. Even her boss called, asking if she declined the Boston job due to reconciliation. Jack clarified they hadn't. Reading between the lines, it seemed her promotion hadn't been as secure as she claimed. Life, he realized, was full of surprises, even the boring kind. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. Rebecca asked to meet for coffee. Civil, almost warm. She admitted Boston lost its appeal after what she called a reality check. She'd taken a smaller pharmaceutical job nearby. Jack wished her well and meant it. Meanwhile, his own life kept evolving. The telescope led to consulting for a research group. He bought a guitar again, rusty, but the music was returning. He started running trails, no longer for routine but for joy. He even took a solo trip to Iceland, with Thailand next on his list. It turned out he didn't hate travel at all, just traveling with someone who belittled him for it. He dated lightly, nothing serious. That was fine. He was learning to enjoy his own company. An unexpected gift from heartbreak. Rebecca texted once, nostalgic after driving past their old beach house. She asked if he missed their routines. He waited a day before answering. "Some routines were comforting. But I don't miss being someone's disappointment." She never replied. Jack took it as closure, the peace he'd been seeking. Not love, not hate, just indifference. Rebecca was someone he used to know. To anyone walking the same path, Jack would say this. It gets better. Pain fades. What remains is the version of yourself you were always meant to be. Before mistaking compromise for surrender. Jack may still be called boring. But he had never been more alive. The stars above, the trails ahead, and the world waiting to be explored.